One of my network just got offered £30,000 a year for a part-time role. Another one in my network is currently earning $40,000 a year just for working 1 or 2 hours a month. And a third person in my network is having so much fun and making so much money that they just turned down $168,000 a year for a part-time role. And before you think I'm going to tell you that you need to become an entrepreneur and build a side hustle in your spare time, this is definitely not that. Each one of my clients is now a first-time board member. And in this quick video, I'm going to show you why this works, how you can make it work for you. Plus, I'm going to show you why it's easier to create a board seat than apply for one, why where you live might be the greatest asset you have, even if it's a lousy neighborhood, and how working for free can actually be worth millions. Maybe you're like most of my clients, you're good at your job, you're ambitious, but the cost of living keeps going up, and despite 1 or 2 promotions, you still feel a long way from being at the top. There's 1,000 gurus out there telling you to start a business in your spare time, despite the fact that 90% of businesses fail, even when the founder is working on them full time. And quite frankly, you're already good at what you do. You shouldn't need to learn how to do everything else in business like an entrepreneur. But you do like the idea of a second income stream, right? That leads to feeling frustrated. The career path in front of you seems long and not particularly clear or inspiring. And slowly over time, you find yourself wondering, is this it? Stay in this job, hope your boss gets fired and you get a promotion, hope some headhunter miraculously finds you. Or do you really have to figure out how to start a new business in your spare time? I am one of those entrepreneurs, and I can tell you for a fact that anyone that tells you you can set up a sustainable side hustle in just a few hours at the weekend is talking out of their ass. Sure, you might get there eventually, but do you have the time and energy to fail 100 times first? Not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur, but a board member? I've been serving on boards, private and public, for more than a decade. I've hired, fired, and advised scores of board members over the years, and many boards. In 2022, I set up a company to help first-timers like you to get their first board seats. Point 1. A board seat isn't just a normal part-time position. It is the ultimate career status symbol. It is your chance to connect with the big hitters, to form relationships with successful business owners, to earn respect and newfound appreciation from your own colleagues and bosses. And the pay has no upper limit. Board members on the biggest boards are earning millions in compensation and making millions again more through the opportunities presented to them. Now, you're not going to be able to go in straight at the top, but even your first board seat could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars when you know how to play it right. Also, imagine how your colleagues, your boss, would react if they knew that you were serving on a board. It would completely elevate your stature and transform their impression of you. Point 2. At the Veblen Director Program, one of the first things we teach our clients is never to apply for a board position. You don't want to apply for one. You've currently got no experience. You need to create one. Think about the numbers for a second. There are 330 million companies in the world. Less than 1% of them have a board, despite the significant advantages it brings to companies. So yes, you could reach out and apply to the same 1% of companies that everybody else is applying to, but reaching out to a new company, reaching out to a company without a board and offering to help build them a board adds significant value to them. Plus, it gives you an opportunity to reach out to other inspiring candidates to also serve on that board with you. And by default, it makes you the founding member of the board. Hey presto, you have a board seat and nobody's even asked to look at your resume. Point 3. Finally, you may be thinking, well, that's all good, but what happens even if I did manage to set up a board? What do I know about being a good board member? How would I add any value? Well, here's the exciting thing. There's a company out there somewhere in the world right now that wants to get into your industry and knows nothing about it. There's a company out there right now today thinking about expanding their geographic footprint to your city or your country, and they need someone on the ground that can tell them how things work. You would be the perfect person for them to have on their board. Every single day, we have companies coming to us with requirements like this. So we want to find more people like you that we can pair with those companies. You see, most people are looking for board seats locally and in their own industry. You don't add any value there. There are people more qualified than you. The trick is to think globally and to look outside your industry. Now you become novel and interesting, and more importantly, you become valuable. I'm going to give you a unique opportunity to learn more about this, but let me tell you why I'm sharing this. I've served and advised on many boards, and what I kept noticing was that there were people on those boards that did not deserve to be on them, and there were plenty of talented people like yourself that were getting overlooked for board seats because they didn't look a certain way, or they didn't have the right experience and connections, or go to the right schools. Or sometimes they just didn't even realize how much value they could add. I set up the Veblen Director Program to help women, minorities, and first-timers like you to get their first board seats through training and an incredible community. If you would like to hear their stories and how they did it, and would like to learn about the big macro environment change which has created all of these opportunities, then watch this next webinar. It's a webinar that I created to go through the 5 components that you need to get a board seat this year and start doubling your earning potential. The key thing I want you to take away is that companies have real problems. You might not be an expert in boards yet, but you absolutely have a completely unique take on things that could help them. No one else in the world has the same set of background, experiences, and connections that you do. And to the right company, just one introduction you could make, or one small suggestion you make, could be the difference between failure and massive success. Get started today, and I look forward to seeing you in the boardroom.